Elon Musk is facing intense scrutiny following revelations in the Epstein files, and his defensive response appears to be backfiring. The controversy erupted when Congresswoman Summer Lee appeared on MSNBC to announce that the House Oversight Committee plans to subpoena Musk for testimony about his connections to Jeffrey Epstein. This announcement triggered a lengthy overnight social media response from Musk, during which he dramatically shifted his position on the released documents, now calling them a distraction, despite previously claiming he pushed harder than anyone to have them made public. The documents in question reveal a more extensive relationship between Musk and Epstein than previously acknowledged. Released emails from 2013, after Epstein's conviction as a sex offender, show Musk inquiring about visiting Epstein's private island, asking, "What day-night will be the wildest party on your island?" and coordinating travel to the British Virgin Islands area, where the island is located. The files also indicate Musk arranged for Epstein to tour SpaceX facilities, contradicting Musk's 2020 statement that Epstein had never visited any of his facilities. Congresswoman Lee emphasized that the Oversight Committee's approach should be nonpartisan, stating that accountability must apply equally whether individuals are Democrat or Republican, a prince or a president. She noted the conspicuous absence of subpoenas for prominent figures like Musk and Trump who appear in the files, despite Republicans' previous insistence on comprehensive investigations. Lee stressed that while appearing in the documents doesn't constitute criminal wrongdoing, public figures can still face legitimate reputational scrutiny based on their documented associations. Musk's response evolved throughout his posting spree, moving from taking credit for the file releases to dismissing their significance entirely. He initially acknowledged having very little correspondence with Epstein and claimed he declined repeated invitations to the island. However, by the end of his social media marathon, he was arguing that what matters is not the release of some set of the Epstein files, but rather the prosecution of those who committed heinous crimes with Epstein, effectively calling the very documents that contradict his previous statements a performative distraction. This pivot appears strategically calculated but internally contradictory. Musk demands prosecutions, while the Trump administration's Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has stated that associating with Epstein wasn't criminal. The only successful prosecution related to Epstein's network, Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction, occurred under the Biden administration, while the current administration has allegedly improved Maxwell's prison conditions and blocked public testimony from other figures mentioned in the files. The documentary evidence directly contradicts Musk's public narrative. Rather than declining invitations as claimed, emails show him actively seeking access to Epstein's island. Rather than keeping Epstein away from his businesses, correspondence suggests he personally facilitated SpaceX visits. These discrepancies have created a credibility crisis that no amount of social media damage control can resolve. The timing of Musk's rhetorical shift is also noteworthy. When he was feuding with Trump, he positioned himself as an advocate for complete transparency. After their reconciliation and the restoration of Pentagon contracts and billions in AI funding to his companies, his tone regarding the files changed dramatically. What was once essential disclosure became an irrelevant distraction. Media coverage of the Epstein files often includes disclaimers that mere mention in documents doesn't prove criminality, a technically accurate but potentially minimizing framing. While true that documentation doesn't equal indictment, this constant caveat can obscure the significance of these connections. Epstein operated a criminal trafficking network, not a social club. The nature and extent of powerful individuals' relationships with him remain legitimate subjects of public interest and investigation, regardless of whether they result in criminal charges. As the Oversight Committee moves forward with its subpoena plans, Musk's frantic reaction suggests genuine concern about what further scrutiny might reveal. His attempt to preemptively dismiss the files as performative while simultaneously demanding prosecutions that aren't forthcoming represents an incoherent defensive strategy that raises more questions than it answers. The contradiction between his previous statements and documented evidence, combined with his visible anxiety about congressional testimony, indicates this controversy is far from resolved.